Good afternoon and welcome to Body Slam Your Ears right here on the NYC Demon Diva YouTube page. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. On today's episode, we're talking about the biggest stories of the day. I am Steve Fall. Follow me on Twitter at Steve Fall. And of course, the goddess herself, Issa. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Sorry, my mouth was full of water.
I was like, she just muted herself. What happened to her?
Yeah, I was drinking water. I'm sorry.
It's okay. And I'm sorry we have to talk about today's top headline. Goldberg coming back to WWE. He did have one match left in his contract. And of course, the rumor is Goldberg's coming back to take on Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia in the Elimination Chamber. Because, you know, that Saudi money, you got to get it when you can get it.
I mean, it's not gonna harm anyone. We were supposed to get that match at WrestleMania. I would much rather get it at Saudi Arabia and get it over with than at a WrestleMania. I'm sorry. It's just for me, Goldberg has never been someone that I sit around and say, man, I really want to see Goldberg come back. You know what I mean? Like, he's never been one that... what about you? Did you ever miss Goldberg?
Never. Also, though I also was anti-WCW for a while because I felt like WCW was like hurting my team, which I considered the WWE my team. So I was very upset anytime Goldberg was around. And especially, I think I just hold the hatred over 20 years of hatred for Goldberg because he looked like Stone Cold Steve Austin. He wore black trunks. He had a shaved head. He had the same goatee. Not even close to the same character, but he had so many things that on a poster, if you put him side by side, he looked just like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right.
So my 20-year hatred is still there.
Yeah, character-wise, he's nowhere near. Me, is I never liked him, right? And it's funny because, you know, my preferred wrestlers are the big guys. But I like guys that can wrestle. I like a good squash match, but I always like guys that can put on a good match, which is why I love Brock Lesnar. You know, I believe Brock Lesnar could squash someone, but when he needs to put on a good match, he can. So Goldberg has never just been it for me. And then when he beat, I'm gonna tell you the truth. When he was the first person to beat Brock, after Brock broke the streak at that Survivor Series, I knew I was done with Goldberg. I was like, I will never be able to cheer for this guy ever.
You know why? I'll never be able to forget that night. That was the day my daughter was born.
Yeah, I know.
That's 5 years ago.
We didn't even podcast. That was the night of Survivor Series. We didn't podcast. We were in the hospital becoming a father. And I was like, I don't even have anyone to unleash this anger I was feeling. Which it went on to be a great storyline for Goldberg and Brock. But that moment, giving that victory to Goldberg, because in my opinion, it's like Brock just beat the street. He murdered freaking John Cena at SummerSlam. I just felt like that victory should have gone to a newer star.
True, but that was also the WWE 2K video game build-up showing Suplex City and Goldberg being released.
So what are you going to do? Give fucking Rey Mysterio now the WWE title because it's in the cover of the game? I don't think so.
I'll tell you what. You joke. You're joking, but I bet that's
I know.
That's been pitched. Hello guys, we got some video games.
I thought for a second that they were gonna let Rey Mysterio eliminate Bad Bunny at the Rumble because of 2K.
You gotta, yeah, of course.
I know.
And then you could have yelled like the 2K Superstar cover. He just tossed out Bad Bunny. Oh my!
And then Bad Bunny's gonna make a rap track about him, and it's gonna be like a whole freaking feud.
Yeah. That's exactly what they're probably thinking. But Goldberg, I think when he first came back in 2016 and the whole video game thing, that was awesome because we didn't see him since 2004 at WrestleMania 20 with that Goldberg-Brock match where everyone booed him out of the building. So it was nice to see him in the beginning, and then we kept seeing him. And then he started ruining things like The Fiend. And then
we kept seeing him.
Then we kept seeing him. My favorite recent version of Goldberg is when he beat the crap out of Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam a couple years ago.
That's how you should use him.
Yeah. And Dolph Ziggler was so damn he was so funny. He's like, you can't beat me again. You can't do it. And then Goldberg just comes back in, spears the shit out of him again, pins him. He's like, you can't do that again.
I didn't have a problem with that appearance. I did think him and Bobby Lashley put on two good matches. The two matches that they had, I enjoyed them. And as a matter of fact, he also made me root for Drew McIntyre during my period of I hate Drew McIntyre. Because when he came back to challenge Drew for the WWE title, I'm like, please, Drew, beat him, please. Because it's Goldberg. You never know what they're going to do. So for a second, I actually have fear that they were going to end Drew's reign to give it to Goldberg.
Well, yeah, they did. They ended the Fiend's reign to
He's
have
a two-time Universal Champion.
I know.
Goldberg.
For have Goldberg fight Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and then COVID took that away from us. So I guess I don't want to say it, but thank you, COVID. But now we're still gonna get it.
right. But then we got a fucking Braun Strowman shitty ass Universal title reign. Come on.
Hey, that led. So listen to this chain reaction. COVID happens, so Goldberg can't fight Reigns. Goldberg fights Braun. Braun wins. Braun fights Bray. We get old, hey man, we get that Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
The Eater of Worlds. Then suddenly we get Alexa Bliss teases Sister Abigail. Then she becomes Sister Abigail. So in reality, if COVID didn't happen, a lot of these things wouldn't have happened.
And you know what? And I think you and I are the only people who give the swamp match a little bit of credit. I love the swamp match. Just seeing Bray Wyatt come back as the Eater of Worlds, like it was such a fun match. And I don't think he gets the credit it deserves when we talk about the cinematic matches that happened during the pandemic era.
I know Braun Strowman was interviewed and he said he almost drowned in that swamp. So either he can't swim or he actually was pushed down there.
I really wanted to see Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, like come on, like in a jet ski, like driving a jet ski, but in full fucking Fiend costume, like in the swamp. I really wanted to, and then I wanted like Bray Wyatt to use his powers to control an alligator, and the alligator eats Braun, and that's how the match ends. Let me book this stuff, man.
I like it. And we're talking about Goldberg, but let's talk about that swap match for just one more second. The whole storyline was Bray Wyatt, the Eater of Worlds, needed Braun's help to defeat the Inner Fiend. But yet they didn't really they didn't hit that home. Like you could see, like he at one point in that match, Bray ties up Braun. And he's like, plays mine. I just need your help, man. And like Bray doesn't know how to ask
Bray
help.
Wyatt is so good.
He doesn't know how to ask help in like the right way. So he's like, I'm gonna tie you up, mine. I'm gonna ask you questions, mine. Please help me, mine. But
yeah, it was one of the. I love your Bray Wyatt impersonation, by the way. It's always been one of my most favorite things about. Okay,
Thank you.
Roman is reacting. Even my dog is reacting to your impersonation. But I was gonna say we were seeing Bray Wyatt struggle with the inner evil of the Fiend, and I felt like it was so well explained in this storyline when he's trying to get some help and nobody's helping him. Like, I'm telling you, underrated match.
Yep. So we'll have to see what Goldberg versus Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber. According to many sources, this is Goldberg's last WWE match. That's in his contract. So I really hope we don't get the idea of, Goldberg will be at Elimination Chamber. I can't wait to see him on Dynamite. Like, what? You hate him in the WWE? Why would you like him in AEW?
Goldberg is all elite. No, oh my God. The graphics are going to be out right
They're already
made.
Oh
my God. I can't deal with this. Now, let me ask you something. Do you think that tonight on SmackDown, we're going to see Brock try to go after Roman and Goldberg?
No.
Roman has made himself some enemies. And Seth, like, everybody could come out and try to freaking beat up Roman right now.
It definitely seems like Seth and Kevin Owens are on a WrestleMania warpath.
I know, but they had a WrestleMania match recently.
Yeah, I don't remember that shit. 2020's WrestleMania?
I do. Kevin Owens jumped off the WrestleMania sign.
In an empty arena.
Hey, it was the performance center.
You think they're ever going to be like, look at this WrestleMania moment? No, those WrestleManias never happened.
Oh, really? Really? But how often do you send me the picture of the hand? And that happened at that WrestleMania. So you obviously remember something about it.
Listen, just because I replaced my wedding photo with a picture of Drew McIntyre reaching out with his hand doesn't mean anything.
That moment, listen, you triggered my dog. Hold on.
I'm sorry, everyone. I triggered her dog talking about my love for the Drew McIntyre moment when he defeated Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania and he put his hand to the camera. It was a beautiful moment. And then the Big Show came out and everyone got afraid because we all thought Big Show was about to win the world title from Drew McIntyre. It's true. It's damn true. Let's move on, though, because Wrestling Observer reporting that Keith Lee is going to AEW. This is just a report from the Wrestling Observer, but I love the reports because it's a two-way street. One version of it says, well, it's a done deal. But if it's not a done deal, it's happening soon. I'm sorry. That's like me go.
I'm
that's
gonna
like
report
me,
news that way.
Yeah, that's like me be like, oh well, I didn't have sex with her yet, but I'm gonna.
It's gonna happen. Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
So funny because
either I had sex with her already.
We could become scoop reporters. We could say right now, oh, Karrion Kross is all elite, and if it hasn't happened yet, it's pretty close to happening. Breaking news. I'm gonna tweet it. You know what I mean? Like, what the
if it doesn't happen, if it doesn't happen though, plans change.
Right, plans change. Cards always subject to change. You know, it fell through. It fell through. Yeah, okay. You're just trying to get like yourself to say it first, but wouldn't you want to hire Keith Lee? I know I would if I had a wrestling company. So of course, Tony Khan has to be in conversations with him. Shocked that he didn't show up on Wednesday already.
Yeah. Maybe because they already have that CM Punk MJF finish set, so it's like, and that was a long match. So
by the way, way too long. AEW needs to relax with the long matches on television because if you have people with ADHD, that shit doesn't cut it. I'm sorry, it doesn't. But I will say, while you brought it up, I know that's not part of the topics. I'm so happy that MJF won twice.
Yeah, I didn't like the finish. They shouldn't.
Did you like the match?
Yeah, I like the match. I you know what's weird is the closer. This is just my personal opinion. The closer AEW keeps changing up its formatting to be, I wouldn't call it like WWE, more sports entertainment, and I feel like they're doing that. And the more they do that, the more I like them. And I don't know if that's because I've been conditioned that's the way I should watch wrestling. But now it's just changing a little bit where you are seeing talented wrestlers not be used. You are seeing matches you want to see. You're seeing matches you don't want to see. It's
you're
very
seeing
interesting.
Good talented dudes not being used the right way, which is what a lot of people bitch about with WWE. AEW is doing it too. I'm sorry. I don't care who wants to defend it. They are not doing shit with Adam Cole. He looks worse over there, and they need to change that. So, but I agree with you. That match felt very WWE book. I didn't like that they did the false finish and let's restart the match with MJF again because they did it for him with Jericho.
You know? That's
and I feel
WWE.
it's also classic AEW because I feel like they go to this multiple times. They did it with Daniel Bryan and The Draw, with Omega and Hangman Page. Like, when they want to protect someone, they just end up doing the same thing with the same people. That I don't like. But overall, you're right. It felt very sports entertainment.
And again, maybe the more they do that, the more I seem to like them. It's very odd. I don't know. It's like the worse they get in some people's eyes is the better they get in my eyes.
Oh, no, don't feel bad because I don't think I was into AEW until they started signing names that I knew. You know what I mean? On the beginning, I'm like, I don't know who these people are. Now you start bringing Moxley, you start bringing all these names, and I'm like, okay, I'll watch.
So let's bring up Keith Lee again, though, because this Keith Lee thing to me is, I just feel, I've tweeted earlier, you got like over 90 male superstars. A lot of them super young, so they don't have name credibility. Then you bring in a lot of former WWE wrestlers, like an obscene amount. And I think it's gonna get to the point where you're like, am I just watching another version of WWE with some like new young wrestlers? It's like NXT call-ups and veterans are making up AEW.
I think there is more former NXT champions in AEW than there is in WWE.
Yeah. And I don't care.
Isn't that crazy?
And it's not like a big deal to me, but I think it's like you hired Keith Lee, then what's next? Karrion Kross? Like what's next? Like you're gonna keep bringing them over, and soon enough, you won't have room for 2.0. Actually, they're from NXT anyways. You won't have
but I will say,
room for the acclaimed.
No, agreed. And look, I don't even watch Dark or Elevation, but there's a lot of names that I mention on my streams that I do right here on my YouTube channel. And I sometimes mention names that I'm like, well, what happened to this person? Somebody's like, oh, well, they beat this person on Dark. They beat this person on Elevation. And I'm like, people don't watch your YouTube programming. They don't. So you have to either do a video package or put some of these names on TV somehow so that we remember them. Because look at your viewership on Dark or Elevation. It's like, what, 100, 200,000 people compared to the almost million you're doing on Wednesdays? Obviously, people are not keeping up with your YouTube programming to be able to know what's going on with some of their favorites.
possibly, I think when AEW first started doing Dark and Dynamite, on the bottom of the screen on Dynamite, they randomly would give you the Dark results. It would crawl through.
No, they still do it. They still do
it. Okay, I must have missed that part. I'm all over the place watching so many different things at different times.
I don't pay attention. That's exactly what you mean. Like, I'm sorry. I put AEW sometimes as background noise until the people that I'm interested in are on the screen. You know what I mean? Yeah. So a lot of times those results pass me by because I'm over here like doing whatever I'm gonna do, and then they said MJF and CM Punk is next. Okay, I'll sit down and pay attention. So they also need to be smart about what segment you put those results in. Put it in the segments that people are actually sitting down and watching. You know, but overall, I do think that Keith Lee will be beneficial to AEW. But I said the same thing about Andrade and Malachi Black, and I'm sorry, Adam Cole. Those are three names, and I could keep going that you haven't really done much with. You haven't.
Right. And then what's going to happen is you'll have Adam Cole versus Keith Lee on a Dynamite or pay-per-view, whatever, and it's either going to be there'll be two versions of tweets that will come out. One will be like, that was so much better than anything the WWE put on. It's like, Adam Cole and Keith Lee did wrestle in the WWE.
And it was damn good.
And it was awesome.
Say that.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the people, actually, no, look at the names that they have. Brian, I thought Daniel Bryan went out looking amazing in WWE, like that, his WrestleMania match with Roman and Edge. Like, I hate when people do that because I'm like, no. Most of these people are untalented and they didn't go out looking like chumps. Maybe Andrade and Malachi because they weren't being used, but if you look at their history, they were wrestling some good fucking matches.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, no, everyone there I think is great. I brought up earlier, like, I know Impact Wrestling isn't on everyone's radar, but they're going to bigger arenas. Like, they've gotten more money from Access TV to invest in their own companies. And I think, like I said, that Keith Lee is someone, just like a Karrion Kross who's already there, but Keith Lee is someone you can put on a poster and be like, dude, look at this badass. And people who watch WWE will know, oh my God, it's Keith Lee. AEW, you put Keith Lee on a poster with 1,000 other faces, it's like, all right, well, who's that?
You have to be super aware of your audience too. Like, for example, I think in the Latin America market, Hispanic market, I'm breaking into that, doing Spanish coverage now. AEW does not do numbers for them, at all. Like, if I make a video in Spanish, right? Example, if I make a video in Spanish that says Jon Moxley returns, few views. If I put Jon Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose, it will double, triple the views because that's what people here watch. And I try to get my mom to watch it. And my mom's the biggest wrestling fan. She hates AEW. I don't know what it is that they're not captivating that audience. Maybe the lack of diversity? Question mark.
That, and also I think though the WWE is like a familiarity, as in we all know Disney, so we know Cinderella and Snow White and all those types of characters, and then you try to introduce new characters that are not made from Disney. That are made from look at this other princess. Like, well, who the hell is that?
And WWE does do a good job, which AEW needs to start doing that when they do their international tours. WWE hits the islands. They hit these markets where nobody else is doing that. You know what I mean? WWE just had a show here in October, and this is post-pandemic. Nobody else has come here. You know what I mean? We do get some names, but not big names. Like, I think Santana and Ortiz are coming down to wrestle a match in Puerto Rico in a few weeks. But I'm just saying they need to figure out some of their audiences and maybe do a better job because they're missing out on a lot of views. And I do even bringing these known names is not helping them in certain markets.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the big cause of concern with AEW is. They can stay the same. They can stay the same all they want. Like WWE the other day just posted their earnings. They made over $1 billion. A billion. Every year, someone made a pie chart. Every year, they keep making more money than they did before. Yeah. So everyone complaining about, the creative and this person's not pushed and da 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 da. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The licensing fees that they have and the brands that they own and streaming platforms that need programming are going to go to WWE because it's live entertainment versus scripted entertainment, which is, a lot more writing, which involves a lot more everything. So it's like when people do game shows. Game shows are so cheap to make. Reality TV is so cheap to make. That's why there's so many of those damn shows.
1,000%. 1000%, and they have so much fucking footage, like especially I'm a big reality TV junkie, and it's like they record these people 24/7. You have so much footage that you can create whatever narrative you want, you know, when you edit the show together. Like, it's perfect. That's why you see a lot of live entertainment, game shows, or reality TV rule the main networks.
And right now everyone is looking to become the new Netflix and everyone needs programming, and everyone is obsessed over WWE's creative. But you know who's not obsessed with it? The people who are paying the billions of dollars for licensing fees. They don't give a shit that Keith Lee wasn't used properly. His name was fucking Bearcat. You know what they care about? Oh shit, look at your revenue streams over everything. Live events, t-shirt sales.
I tell people, I've taken so many marketing classes. I have a degree on business management. And I tell people a lot of times, and I hate to say this about AEW because I enjoy it. And we cover wrestling. I want all wrestling to be good, more views for us, you know? Yeah. But it's like, you have to have a certain look. There's certain people that don't belong in a poster. I don't think that AEW has an it factor person. Like, when Roman Reigns walks into a room, everybody stops and looks. And I don't see that. Holy shit, do you hear that? That's thunder. We're going to die.
Wow. I'm in an ice storm in my car right now.
Well, I mean, apparently a hurricane or something. It's okay, Roman. Even my dog is freaking out. Let's take cover. No, I was just saying, AEW does need an it factor person. I don't think they have it yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think AEW, like, before we go, this is like a big thing I think people forget about, is I used to ask people, go back 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I used to say, hey, do you watch WWE? They go, no, but I watch NXT.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, NXT is WWE, but it's not the same. AEW took that entire audience who didn't watch Raw and SmackDown anymore and took them. But guess what? They're not growing. They're just staying the same. And you can bring over all you want, bring back CM Punk from retirement. And guess what? I love that moment. But you keep doing that, and guess what? It's not growing. You're appeasing your audience, of course, but it's not growing.
I did too. I had tears. A grown woman had tears in my eyes when CM Punk came back. It's a moment I never thought that we would see. Yes. But if you're gonna talk numbers and not be biased, CM Punk has not moved the needle for AEW, and people are not ready to have that conversation. You know, and I get that the Roman Reigns shirt is a mock on that, but it was just funny. If you look at the segment when Moxley came back, he had a crazy amount of views and then he dropped. I'm like, I've been saying that on my streams. I'm like, so the real needle mover is Moxley. He got like, I think it was like hundreds of thousands of people tune in just to watch what he had to say, and then they tuned out. But their audience is always somewhere between 900,000 and 1-point-something million. That's it. Like, and that's the thing. You're staying the same, which is okay. Being steady in business is a good thing too. But when your company is running on the red because they're not profitable yet, you need to start making those numbers go up.
Also, before we go, the Moxley starting the show, returning, probably a bad decision. You have him the last segment, so everyone's forced to watch for 2 hours till you get to that moment.
Yeah, they tend to do that a lot. Like I told you on Wednesday, I was previewing the show, and then I saw that we're gonna put MJF and CM Punk on the main event. So to me, for an hour and 50 minutes, AEW was just background noise until we got to that match, because that's what I wanted to see. They tell you when they're gonna show you what, so it makes it easier on us to watch when we want to watch. But then people are not gonna tune in until you get to that, you know?
Correct. Yep. Nope. Again, I feel like we're crapping on it, but at the same time, I'm just the Keith Lee thing going to AEW is like, oh, good for him, he has a job, but I don't know what that does for Keith Lee.
I don't consider it news anymore, and I love AEW, and that's the thing. It's just that people that are hardcore fans don't like the criticism of it, but it's just like, we were just that excited when they announced Adam Cole, when they announced Malachi, when they announced Andrade, and look at where they're at. So I need to see how you treat Keith Lee, because AEW is dying for some good diversity and representation, and I think Keith Lee could really change things for them. You know, we'll see, but I can't get my hopes up, because some of my favorites that I personally said out loud I think will be treated better in AEW are not being treated better in AEW, so it's hard for me to get excited.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to see how this all goes down in the end. But that's the show, folks, right here on the NYC
I love
Demon
talking
Diva.
wrestling with you, Steve. I want you to know that. You're one of my favorite people to have these conversations with, because everybody else gets all defensive and they just don't understand that I'm not being negative. I'm just speaking facts that need to be worked on.
Well, I think that the problem, though, is I don't have loyalty towards anybody.
Exactly. I have loyalty towards my dog. That's it.
It's a business, and I like it, and I like to talk about it. Nothing offends me. If someone loses, I get upset. But a long time ago, I think I realized that being emotionally upset over someone losing, I can't change what they're doing.
Right.
So I gotta just lay back and take it.
Right, exactly. No, and they don't. WWE or AEW do not pay your house bills. So why do you have to defend them or be acting a certain kind of way when speaking about them? You know,
right? Well,
that's the way that I see it.
Yeah. Also, I have a life outside of wrestling.
Right. That's actually very important.
And I have 2 children. I have a wife. I have a career that I've worked in the same career for 13 years. So I'm not just a wrestling fan, but I love wrestling. But it's not
because wrestling is always supposed to be an escape. That's how I see it. It's an escape for reality. It's what I watch to have fun and enjoy, not to make my whole life about it.
Right. Do I make money off it? Of course. But at the same time, I'm not gonna die if wrestling ends tomorrow. So
I mean, I might a little inside.
You probably will, but I won't. You got too many hands in the basket right now, working for so many companies paying you, so I can see that being a problem for you. But folks, the show is over here. I appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate Issa and everyone enjoying wrestling just like we do. So we end the show the same way we do every time, Monday through Friday, right here in the NYC Demon Diva YouTube page. And don't worry, we'll be back Monday with more wrestling stories. How do we end the show?
Adios.
Adios.